Hello, we are here with Scott C, and the whole purpose of this exercise is to focus on CBT therapy, which is cognitive behavior therapy. What Scott's going to tell us a little bit about himself and tell us what he wants, what behavior he wants to change. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there. And we'll end the behavior that we want to concentrate on.
Yeah, sure. I'm basically here today I've been having some trouble with my drinking, and it's kind of just become a problem area for, interacting with my family. And some days, I can't get up in the morning, without a shot, or two to just get right.
So, how long have you been drinking, Scott?
I've been drinking on and off for over 10 years now.
Right. What's the longest period of time you've had without drinking?
Probably a couple days.
A couple days. And what do you attribute the fact that you went a couple days? Was it purposefully to stop drinking, or whether you were out or you were sick? Tell me why it was 2 days. Was that an intentional effort on your part?
It wasn't so much intentional as just necessary. Some days, like if we were traveling or if I, didn't have access to it, I couldn't drink.
So, do you remember when you started to drink? Was it for fun? Was it because you felt like there was some pressure from others? I mean, when did you start to drink?
I really started drinking as a social lubricant. It was really a social thing. I would drink in small groups or at parties, and have a couple of beers or a glass or two of wine, and it would just take the edge off so I could talk to people and not feel awkward.
Right. So those are some important things you said, not to talk to people and feel awkward. So when you say feel awkward, are you not comfortable at parties without drinking, or you're not comfortable just in everyday life? I mean, talk about an awkward feeling that you're trying to mask, if you will.
I think just the feeling of awkwardness was a part of growing up, I was trying to figure out who I was. I was trying to really kind of make an impression on girls at the time,
Right.
and that kind of gave me the liquid courage, to do it.
Right. So at some point, it moved from a social, having a good time with my friends, taking some of the pressure off when it comes to women, moving away from the awkwardness to where it was different. And can you not necessarily pinpoint, can you kind of go back and see where it started to change, where it became something that, as you describe now, was necessary?
Yeah, I definitely noticed a shift when I started to notice that I liked, the effect of the alcohol. I wasn't just using it to get over the awkwardness and, to be able to talk to people, but so much so that I would find myself trying to get alcohol to drink alone, outside of parties, at home, in the comfort of my room. And I think that was probably the point where I started to isolate more so than go to parties, because I didn't really care to speak to people at that point. I had started drinking a little bit more heavily, and not necessarily a good thing to be in public when I'm doing that.
Right.
So you can see how the isolation started to kick in.
Right.
When I started drinking more.
So let's go back a bit more, and then we'll come back. So I'm thinking about school and your involvement in school and your involvement with peers. That made it easy for you to isolate. So what was school like? Did you enjoy it?
Like academically?
Yeah, always academic, sports, the whole going to school and come home. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I didn't mind it. I think that it got me out of the house. Like academically, I wasn't doing bad, I think I could overall manage drinking and going to school at the same time. Like
Okay.
that wasn't really a problem for me.
Right. So let's just come on for today. So now we're here, and you've described that the longest you've gone out drinking is 2 days. So at some point you decided, hey, listen, this probably is not like, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but what made you decide that you want to do something different?
Probably just an event kind of happened. Like I had I got really messed up drinking one night, and I blacked out, and I had thrown something. I think it was a TV at my wife, and that's obviously not good.
No,
the wife was pissed, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember it. And I think that was the point where I was just like, wow, this might really be a problem,
So the motivation is the fact that you may have damaged the relationship with your wife. Any personal motivation outside of that to stop drinking?
I've always been able to keep it functional. Like I said, school wasn't a problem up until, I think the functionality impairment part probably came to where, I mentioned a few minutes ago that I can't get out of bed some days without, having a shot or two.
Right.
Things escalated to that point where I don't feel physically able to.
Right. So there's a physical component which is real to the detox of alcohol. Have you decided if you want to be able to drink successfully, or have you made a decision about whether or not you want to stop completely?
I don't know yet, to be honest. I feel like I don't need to be drinking liquor if I'm gonna black out like that. So I really think that it might have been due to just, the dark liquor. I like my whiskey, and sometimes when I drink, that happens, and it's kind of been happening more and more lately. So maybe if I just drink, wine or beer, I might be fine.
Right. So part of what alcohol does for us is it changes the way we feel. Right. Is that a motivating factor for why you drink?
Yeah.
So would you consider why you need to change how you feel?
In what way?
I mean, what way? Why do you want to change how you feel?
I think it's really just to get rid of the consequences at this point, because I'm experiencing some negative consequences.
Okay. I asked that question also. Why do you drink? So if we establish that drinking changes how we feel, what is it about your life that you can't be okay with how you feel, that you need to have drinks to change how you feel?
That's a deep question, I think at some point, along the line between being like confident when talking to people and like realizing that I liked the effects of whatever I was drinking alcohol wise, there might have been some unhappiness, and I would say that it's probably become more of a depression at this point. And so I drink to kind of, deal with it.
Right. So that's good that you talked about depression. I would ask, have you pinpointed what those depression areas are? Or is it just a general depression in general, or are you depressed about a specific thing about you, about how your life has progressed or not?
I think I've been going through, some hard times with my wife, and that kind of added to like that little depression I had, and made it bigger.
Right.
I think that it's grown considerably in the amount I feel unhappy, every day.
Right.
So that's kind of why I started stepping up with like liquor, because I used to just drink beer and wine, but it doesn't do it anymore. I can't make the sadness go away.
Right. So I'd imagine that sadness and loneliness and boredom aren't recent phenomena. I'd imagine that those are things that have happened in your life before. So that being said, how did you deal with it prior to drinking?
I don't know. I think that it's a little touch of that might have always been there, and I don't think I've ever really learned how to cope with it.
Right. Okay. That's fair. So let's talk about what to do to cope, because part of what we want to do is part of the cognitive behavior therapist is our thought process, right? It's how we think about us, how we think about our situations, how we think about the future, and how we think about the past. And if those things are negative, then there's a natural consequence of that is negative thinking and depression. Does that make sense? That if I think negative, then I probably won't have any positive thoughts.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. I feel like I have some negative self-talk,
Right.
a lot of days because I just don't feel happy.
Right, right. And so when you say feel happy, there are some realities of this life that we're not going to be happy all the time, right? So let's talk about what makes you happy. What makes you happy? Is it your relationship with your wife? Is it your job? Is it where you're heading in life? What are some things that you do that you like to do? Like, do you like to fish, jog, darts? I mean, what things make you happy when you do them outside? What things make Scott happy?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy my relationship with my wife, and I really want to have something healthy with that going on. And I think that what I truly enjoy is just being outdoors. I think that I love backpacking and hiking, and I love skiing and stuff like that. And lately, I really haven't been doing any of that.
How reasonable is it to plan hiking and skiing? And what about some things that you could do that don't require you to travel? Are there some things that you've done and that you can think of that you can do that don't require travel, that you can do in the house, in the neighborhood? Are there some things you can think about that?
Yeah, I like jogging. I like walking around the neighborhood, and I think that if I did that a little bit more, it would help me kind of bide my time and not think about drinking so much, maybe.
Right.
But to tell the truth, it's been very hard to get out of my house to begin with.
Right. I'll share this with you. There's something they call the thought stopping technique. So part of what I'm saying is that a lot of times we don't have control over the thoughts that come to our mind, but we have control over how long they stay. So that for me, that gives you some control. It lets you know that, hey, I got some control over this thought. I might not have control over it. It's coming. I got control over how long it stays. And what I would suggest to you that is when it starts to come, because we know ultimately bad thoughts come, that we have a defense mechanism, right, to deal with what's the inevitable. The inevitable is that I'm going to have some bad thoughts about me because I've been having bad thoughts about me for a long time, so they just won't stop on their own. So I would say make an effort of maybe creating a gratitude list of 10 different things so that you can have something to pull from that you're grateful for. Like, tell me something that you're grateful for now.
I think I'm just grateful to be here right now. Knowing, because I fucked up a lot of stuff,
right,
especially my relationship, and I think that I'm grateful to be in the room sitting here with you, because I've never really done that before.
Right. And that your wife is still with you in spite of the fact that you, as you say, fucked up. She's still with you, right? She's still pulling for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any other people in your life, like parents, friends, co-workers, that you think pour into your life or care about your welfare?
Not at the moment. I really have kind of isolated myself off. Currently that's just where I'm at, and I don't have you know, the friends that I want, that I started trying to sexually lubricate myself to talk to in the beginning, you know.
Right.
So
There's been some kind of uncomfort in the beginning, some lack of comfort with you in the beginning. So that's kind of what it's been like.
yeah.
So let's just start thinking about. I think that one of the things I'd like to do is have you do 2 lists for me. One will be 10 reasons for gratitude, and the other will be 10 reasons why I matter. What those will do, because our brain is, as you described, has a penchant for thinking negatively. And that didn't happen coincidentally. It happens because it was a conditioning, right? So what we want to do is program how we think about ourselves, and that has to be um, an intentional and deliberate procedure, if you will. Intentional and deliberate meaning that you have to focus on, hey, if I write these 10 reasons why I have gratitude, those are intentional and deliberate, and it causes me to think about what I'm grateful for. And if I write 10 reasons why I matter, it causes me to think about why I matter. It causes me to think positively. I mean, I got something to grab from when those negative thoughts come, right? So if a negative thought comes, instead of spending time with it, I grab something from that gratitude list. And so I got a reason to be grateful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes some sense.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do that every day, and then you will scan it or take a picture of it and send it to me every day. Can you commit to that?
I think I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, but part of this is your ability to be focused and intentional about changing the way you think about Scott.
Okay.
Until the next time we meet, thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
All right.